Hey everyone, welcome back. I've got a... We've got an INAROS build video for you right now, and I don't really know why nobody has talked about this, but it's probably because it got written off a long time ago, and it took me quite a lot of effort even to make it work pre-rework. But this is an Elemental Sandstorm build. If you didn't know, INAROS is now able to nuke with this base kit. Of course, Roar helps out a lot, but I have a video that I'm going to put at the top right of when I tried to make Elemental Sandstorm work about 1 year ago and how I could, but there were certain limitations you had to keep in mind. This is his nuking tool now. This is actually a meta nuke you can run for Steel Path, and because you can change the element to what you want it to be, it works with any faction. The one thing it does not work against is Xmas units, but you can bring one weapon to deal with that. You're completely invulnerable. Okay, so this is not a full INAROS rework breakdown on what's going on. This build is extremely similar to what I showcased in my original video from last year. The only things I changed is I removed Rage, and I moved casting speed, like Speed Drift or something, because one, you're now invincible when you're in Sandstorm. And instead of being a drain of like 10 energy a second, which was absolutely batshit ridiculous, it just costs 25 energy a pop now. So even at crap efficiency, it still only costs like 38 energy. And then you will soon see that I'm just going to kill everything. So there were 3 big problems with Sandstorm in the past. One, it had insane energy costs, which makes it super hard to balance stats. 2, you could get killed when you were in it, because INAROS' Scarab Armor used to not scale with strength. Now it does, and it also gives more raw armor than before. I think it used to be 250, but you can see now in this build it gives me 1000. This won't matter because you spam iframes on this build. The third thing that was problematic about this was that it would throw enemies away. But as Pablo showed in his video, when we were looking at the dev stream update and when it released and whatnot for the rework, Sandstorm now pulls enemies to you and keeps them in the middle, and even when it ends, they fall down straight to the ground, which is nice for finisher builds and stuff and whatnot. But what you don't know is that it fixes the hitbox problem where you had to specifically use specific like hallways or stay close to the walls to get enemies trapped against the wall instead of being spun around and thrown out. So now that we no longer need to worry about energy, we no longer need to worry about hitbox problems, and we no longer need to worry about getting killed, then you don't need to worry about survivability anymore, which lets us get even more energy, and we can now go dump energy massively on the efficiency to just go all out strength. The augment even gives you 50% extra range now, so the hitbox of dragging everything in to pull them together is 11 meters, which is way bigger than before. Sandstorm also moves much faster than before. I once upon a time showed with Dispatch Overdrive to get better mobility so you could kill faster. Now you basically move like Cloudwalker speed on Wukong, except you just can't move through the air. And you can still stack it with Dispatch Overdrive. So, I have the full explanation in the original video. I'm not going to get to it because it's very technical. But essentially, Elemental Sandstorm looks at these on your weapon. It doesn't care about actual damage scaling, status, crits, or anything. It just looks at what types of elements are present and what elemental weight it has relative to the total, and it will evenly distribute that across the Sandstorm. So say like if you're 75%/25% viral, over a period of a couple of seconds, your Sandstorm will inflict a balance of 75% slash and 25% viral. You do want to have a little bit of duration on because cycling the entire statuses takes about, I'd say, 4.5 to 6 seconds, and this lasts by default 4 seconds. So, because if you mod for viral slash on the setup that I'm going to show, the viral usually appears at the end of the rotation, and if you leave it at just 4 seconds, the viral will never apply before the ability ends. So you do want to be slightly positive for this. Now, you might also be thinking, okay, yes, I know he's going to demonstrate against Armored Grineer. What about if I want to fight Corpus? That's simple. You would basically just make another config and just put Toxin instead. So you'd basically just run the exact same type of build, but just have Toxin mods, and then now you can destroy Corpus. So it's either they're armored and you go viral slash like this, or it's Corpus and you just go big gigaweight Toxin. The important part of Elemental Sandstorm is that it force procs elements, as long as you're positive strength, because by default it's 100% status chance. It actually double dips strength, because strength both affects the amount of damage each proc will deal, which is important here because our main DPS is slash procs, as well as the status chance. So 300 strength means you deal triple the amount of damage per bleed, and you also apply triple the amount of slash procs, meaning you would do 9 times the effective DPS. This build is actually meant to be used with Materai and Molt Augmented, which will bring you up to 398 strength, and the TLDR is 4 times the damage per slash proc, 400% status chance, 16 times damage. But more importantly, this makes Roar have 120% scaling, or you do 2.2 times, but because bleed is a dot, then it double dips Roar, so now you do 2.2 squared damage, which is roughly around, it's like somewhere around 5 times damage. So you have 16 times damage from Sandstorm times this, which is 5. Now you do 80 times higher damage than before. And if you want to see what happens out of this, you even saw I'm running Mecha Set. You can use any Kubrow you want. I picked the Huras Kubrow just because the ease of life and comfort of being able to be invisible, since running around with just ability spam does not break your invis. If you throw your glaive to proc Dispatch Overdrive, yes, you will get it breaking your stealth, but you still have iframes. Any Kubrow works. And your Kubrow is also invisible, so enemies won't attack them. You don't need to worry about it going down. But yeah, the Mecha Set here, because you have such a big suck radius, you're easily going to slash proc and kill off whatever was marked, and then now you will nuke everything instantly into 30 meters due to the Mecha Mark set. So, if you just want a rough idea on how this works, it's basically like this. Have energy. Proc Materai. Cast Roar. Cast Sandstorm, move around. This is your base movement speed now. This is without Dispatch Overdrive, just letting you know. And hey look, they're dead. And remember, I'm only at 300 strength now, which is roughly a 9 times multiplier on the ability itself from status and bleed dealing damage. And then for Roar, I'm only at 100, so I have a 4 times multiplier instead of a 5 times. So 9 times 4 is 36 times damage. Whereas if I have the fully decked out strength, I would be doing about 80 times damage. So let's go into Hop Mission and I will show you what it looks like when you use this. Acolytes get destroyed if the Mecha Set procs. That's not hard, because every 15 seconds you get a Mecha mark somewhere nearby that lasts 12 seconds. It does not work well on Xmas, so I would still say bring a raw damage weapon to deal with their Overguard, though once their Overguard is removed, you can just go back into Sandstorm. They will instantly bleed out when they get tagged by this. Another nice thing about this ability is that enemies do not need to be dragged directly to you to deal damage. You will be able to hit enemies that are on elevated standing relative to you. So if there's like a floor above you, you can just spin around beneath it and it will still kill them. So notice how I can just group everything up like this. The little bit of duration is also really nice because it lets me get more enemies together more often, as well as getting me that viral part of the rotation. You'll see that they're only just getting slash procs now on. If you feel like it's still not enough duration, you can remove one of the mods for Augur Message or Constitution to get the viral procs in, but otherwise it's very, very chill. Like, you literally just go around the map like this, and everything dies. Literally everything just dies. And that's it. You don't need to worry about anything else. And if it's Corpus, of course, as I said, you would just change it to Toxin on your melee. And yeah, this is about 140 kills a minute. It's really, really damn good. And you can blow through anything. It's infinitely scaling because we're going slash. You don't even need to worry. Like, I wouldn't even bother with wondering about emerald shards and a corrosive heat build. Just go with slash if they have armor, because you have so much damage, so much status chance. It just isn't worth trying to balance the other elements. So this is all you need to do. INAROS is now a Steel Path nuker that is very, very viable and can just destroy anything that you face. Pretty big improvement from his free rework, right? When Sandstorm still had hitbox problems throwing enemies out, you were still able to get hit because, well, it wouldn't give you iframes, and it would burn through an insane amount of energy. So really, the only way I could make it work was intentionally get hit, so that I could convert into energy via Raging Hunter's Adrenaline and surviving through Arcane Grace. But now you don't need to worry about it. See, you see this Eximus unit right here that we're unable to hit. Well, like, we can hit them, but it does very, very quick damage. Well, bring something that can deal with the Overguard, is what I would say. And then you can just go right back in to your Sandstorm, and notice how it can still hit enemies that are around. Below you doesn't work too well, but if they're above, I can do this, and it will bleed them out, and I'm going to kill the Mecha Mark here, and now everything around me dies. You see how simple it is now to deal with that. And actually, he was already eating a big splash proc before I even threw my glaive, because the Mecha Mark set was on him too. So this is another way to deal with Eximus units, is just combo it with the Mecha Set from your Kubrow, and it will easily get the job done, which means you don't even actually need to get out of invisibility and worry about how to kill them. You can just mind your own business, kill everything else, and eventually you'll kill a Mecha Mark target, which will cause the special slash proc, because Mecha Set has really weird scaling on status effects, but that will absolutely annihilate the Eximus without you ever having to personally worry about him and fight him yourself. And yeah, that's it. That's literally the entire INAROS build now. That's all you need to do. This is it. So we're gonna run for until hopefully we get the Acolyte early rather than too late, because I'd like to show about, there's another Eximus got killed by Mecha Set. I'd like to show you how, look, we're 429 kills, we're only 3.5 minutes in, so we're about 100 kills ahead of where we need to be for 100 kills a minute. This is running up right at about 140 kills a minute again. So we'll tab again at the 5-minute mark to check. But yes, if you can get the Mecha Set to proc 2, you can also kill the Acolyte without ever really touching it yourself, because again, the Elemental Sandstorm slash procs do not deal that much damage to the Acolyte themselves, for whatever, due to some way how the calculations work. However, Mecha Set bypasses this and will still kill them easily regardless. And hey, look, that Eximus unit lost their Overguard. Once again, Mecha Set somewhere got procced. I don't know where, all I know is it did. And that's all that matters. But yes, we're creeping up to 5 minutes now. Hopefully it spawns soon. Come on, Acolyte. Don't be too shy now. A like and subscribe always goes a long way to help the channel. I would much appreciate comments too on your thoughts on the INAROS rework if you fiddled around with them. I'll go look at other builds for them next moving forwards. Later today, we will be looking at some Scarab Swarm stuff and funny armor shenanigans, but this one was just too big of a quality life improvement and buff to the capabilities of a Elemental Swarm INAROS. Oh, okay, this time the Blitz Eximus killed off my Kubrow, so I'm not going to be able to get the Mecha Mark for a while. But the nice thing about this is that I can still technically kill him with other options. Now, if you're okay with a slightly slower throw, you can also have brought Power Throw instead. I just didn't because I don't really consider Eximus units a huge problem here. Oh, here's the Acolyte. And it's Malice. So my Kubrow is alive. We just need to find whoever has the Mecha Mark on them. We'll know once the Acolyte starts getting chunked, right? Oh, there it is. There it is. And this is what happens when you kill the enemy off that had the Mecha Set. So there you go. You do not need to focus on the Acolyte at all. If you just keep killing trash fodder, it will just die by itself. So now we can extract. We're about creeping up to 6 minutes in, right? Let me just run this up to 6 minutes so I can check. 140 kills a minute would be... Let me see. 6 minutes. 840. We're at 746. Okay, that's about 125. It could be better. But again, remember that I was focusing on demonstrating the mechanics and explaining things rather than focusing on just getting kills. But yeah, that's INAROS. So I hope you all enjoyed the video. Expect much more uploads. We will be continuing. In fact, tomorrow we're going to be starting a big long stream. I guess this is the moment where I can say that it is going to be our birthday subathon. So do feel free to stop by. We're not going to be ending. We're going to be going for days on end. Of course, we'll even be sleeping a little bit on stream. But if you have any questions about anything from the update or the INAROS reworks or anything about Dante, do feel free to stop by my stream and ask. The link is down in the description and pinned comment, as I will always be around and open to answering anything that you might be wondering about. So that'll be it for this video. Let's take one more quick look, because I know some people skip to the end of the video instead. All I needed on this, I don't even care about the shards because I have flow now since I had space to fit it on the post-rework INAROS here. This is all I'm using. Energize isn't even needed. You could honestly use, say, like Steadfast. And then Glaive Prime, just because for Dispatch Overdrive. Otherwise, you could say pick up a Galatine because it's a 95% slash weight. And as I mentioned, Elemental Sandstorm only cares about the elemental weight, doesn't care about crit status or the actual damage. Only the percent status weight is what matters. This doesn't work. It's not considered it. None of these actually work except exposure for corrosive damage, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because you're either using Toxin for Corpus or you are using Viral Slash for anything that's armored. This is what my Kubrow looks like. Any Kubrow works. You want the full set on Mecha. I just picked Huras to get the easy invis for comfort. And yeah, that'll be it. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time.